Hi guys, welcome back to In Between Sets. So good to be here again. Today it's another solo episode, and honestly, this conversation feels very close to my heart at the moment. It feels very important to me right now because I am just seeing this more and more and been there, done that myself. Like, I have struggled with these issues so much, and probably more recently to the point that I didn't even realize that maybe I was still kind of stuck in the cycle a little bit. So it's something I've personally been reflecting on a lot lately. I've been talking to a lot of women about it, and it's a little bit of a mixed topic episode. I wanted to talk about social eating and like that binge restrict cycle that so many women get stuck in, and also just building a little bit more balance into your life. I want to talk about finding ways to maybe stop letting food control your life so much, why social eating might feel so stressful, and just healing your relationship with food as well while still having physique goals, while still chasing physique goals. Because a lot of women think that if they want to work on their relationship with food, they have to kind of let their physique goals go and let themselves go. And that is just not true whatsoever. So let's dive straight in. So I feel like there is a lot of pressure as women to feel perfect all the time, especially if you are a bodybuilder girly or if you are a girl, like an active gym girl. Chances are you are a highly operating woman. You're a high overachiever. And with that comes some anxiety, maybe a little bit of ADHD, sprinkle all these things in there. And a lot of women get into fitness for really positive reasons, obviously. You want confidence, you want to look better, you want to feel better, gonna be healthier, stronger. But somewhere along the way, especially for those overachiever girlies, fitness stops enhancing your life and can start consuming it. And this is something that I was so deep in for so long without even fucking realizing, like without even realizing that I was stuck in this cycle. And I think I realized that after so many years of this rigid structure, constantly being disciplined and locked into routine and stuck in this like hustle culture, and this goes for work and business as well. I almost forgot how to switch off a little bit and how to loosen the grips without it causing any anxiety. Not in a way where like I've stopped caring about my goals or anything like that, but in a way where my entire, we'll say, self-confidence was attached to whether I was perfectly on track or not. And I have always preached balance. I preach balance to all of my clients. It is a huge philosophy of mine. But when it came to myself, like I would go out for dinner, have a meal out, have a glass of wine, whatever. But deep, deep, deep down inside, I'd have that little bit of guilt and that little bit of anxiety. And I'd come home and think, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And that's not normal. That is not normal. And now I've gotten to a place where I don't have that. Like, I went out on Saturday night. I know, who is she? I went to a club, if you guys believe it or not. Like, first time going to a club in probably like 6 years. It was wild. It was a special occasion. But I had a lot of fun. And I went out for dinner before that. And yes, I got a nice juicy steak, but I got the garlic butter and I put the garlic butter on top, and I got the chips instead of the salad, and I enjoyed my meal. And then I went out to a club and I had a couple of drinks, had dessert, and I didn't feel like shit. I didn't beat myself up for it. Woke up the next day and I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I had fun. That was the first time I've gone out and had like a little bit of a feral night out in a really long time. And you know what I did the next day? I just got straight back into routine. Straight back into routine. I did not overcompensate. I did not go do extra cardio. I didn't fucking cut my calories the next day. I literally ate my normal meals, prepped my meals for the week like I always do on a Sunday, got my steps in, like did everything that I usually do. And that is how you break that cycle. Because, like I was saying, I noticed for a long time, I almost felt guilty if I would go out and have a meal that wasn't like on my meal plan for that week. I'd feel guilty. I'd feel like I've done something wrong when all I've done is just enjoy a fucking meal with my loved ones. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. Both can coexist at the same time. And in the previous episode, I was talking about this when I was talking about some of these like mindset shifts that I've had, is that I'm learning that balance and discipline can coexist at the same time. And you should not feel guilty for relaxing. You should not feel guilty for going out for a meal. You shouldn't feel anxious if your routine has changed a little bit, or you had a birthday, or you missed a workout. Like, a lot of women in fitness are silently struggling with this exact thing. And I hear it almost daily. And it's women who genuinely care about their goals, because it starts off so normal, so innocent. Like, you're tracking your food, you're seeing progress, you start getting some compliments, you feel really proud of yourself, you've become more disciplined. But then eventually you start tying this to your entire identity, and that's what I did. I I remember having a call with one of my old mentors, and he asked me, who am I outside of being a coach and being a bodybuilder? And I was literally like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even have any hobbies outside of that. I don't even know what my interests are outside of that. And something in me really clicked, and I was like, that's not fucking good, because my entire identity is not being a coach and a bodybuilder. I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a partner. Like, there's so much more to me than that. And there's so much more to my life than that. So it's important to still maintain your identity and know who you are outside of your fitness and physique goals as well. Otherwise, you're going to find that your mood starts to depend on your body image that day. Your confidence starts to depend on your level of leanness. Your social life starts to revolve around food. Every meal feels really emotionally charged and kind of reactive. And I think social media has made this a lot worse as well, because we are constantly consuming all of these, like, quote unquote perfect daily routines. What I eat in a day videos, super lean physiques, like body checking content, perfect 10-step morning routines. It's just fucking unrealistic. And then it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong if you don't live that way or if you don't look that way. And women start believing that unless they are hyper disciplined all year round, they're failing. So that is why I wanted to do this episode, because as you can see, I'm very fucking passionate about this topic, because I think so many women are so exhausted mentally around food, and they don't even realize how much space it's taking up in their brain. And that is exactly where I found myself. So I think a big problem here is that in fitness culture, we are often praised for behaviors that are actually unhealthy without us realizing. So we get praised for, like, never missing a workout, or always saying no to dessert, or never eating out. Like, we hear comments like, oh, you're so good, or you're so disciplined, or how are you like that? And no one is asking, is this actually healthy mentally to always be feeling this way? People just admire the physique that might be attached to it. And I think that it's important to realize that there is a distinction between obsession and discipline. And for a long time, I just thought I was so disciplined, but I was obsessed. Like, I was obsessed. And there's a structure there a structure. There's a difference between structure and fear as well. And there's a difference between having a goal and feeling mentally controlled by it. It should not consume you, and it should not consume your whole fucking life, because some of the women that I know that have the most incredible physiques, mentally, they're exhausted. And like I said, I've been here myself before, constantly thinking about food, constantly body checking, anxious about weight gain, or comparing yourself to other girls online. You're just stuck in this state of trying to control everything that you eat and trying to control the way that you look. And it really can change the way that you think about food and your body, because you become so hyper aware of everything. You're very routine based. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm a creature of routine. I love my routine. But I I realized that I would always say I'm a creature of routine, right? But I realized that it was that I actually had control issues, and I was attached to always being in control. Um, and I realized this a lot post show as well. because I realized how much of my brain space was consumed by food thoughts and body image and my productivity and just perfectionism. Like I'm a perfectionist. I had control issues and I had perfectionist issues. And one of the things that I have been really working on, and don't get like I've come such a long way already, don't get me wrong, but what I've been working on is learning how to keep my standards high while also building more balance into my life. Like, that is my goal right now. My goal is to build more balance into my life. Like, yes, I'm in a build phase. Yes, I have physique goals, I have strength goals, but my number one priority is everything that I'm talking about today and just doing it on such a healthy level because I don't think your entire happiness should disappear because you had dinner out with your friends. I don't think you should feel like shit if you didn't track a meal. Like, your confidence should not disappear because you ate dessert. It doesn't make you any less of a person and it doesn't make you any less of a bodybuilder. For my bodybuilder girlies that are listening, you're probably hearing this thinking like, fuck, like maybe that's me. Every time I would go out to eat or do something that wasn't like bodybuilder coded, I felt like less of a bodybuilder. And that was like a stab in my identity. And I think a lot of people are living in this cycle of like they're living in a cycle and they don't even realize it. So it is really important to learn how to rest, learn how to enjoy it, learn how to have flexibility in your life without those guilty feelings that come with it because that mindset, it gets really old. It gets really exhausting. So let's talk a little bit about why social eating maybe feels so hard. I think social eating becomes really stressful when your entire sense of progress feels like fragile. Like one meal can ruin everything. When we know that's not realistic, like what is one meal out of all the other meals that you've eaten that week? Because I've seen people avoid birthdays and dinners and girls' nights. And I've had clients message me saying, like, I've got a wedding to go to on the weekend. What should I do? Should I bring my own meal? And I'm like, fuck no. I'm like, you're going to a wedding. This person's only going to get married once. Well, hopefully. You should go and enjoy yourself. Like, don't bring your fucking meal prep to a wedding unless you are a competitive bodybuilder in prep. You do not need to be doing that shit. And that is what I mean by it shouldn't feel so fragile. Like if you have one a special occasion meal, your whole progress is just going to shatter to pieces when really it's not. Again, it comes back to that fear of that loss of control. Because what usually happens after that social meal, you try to compensate. You undereat, you're doing extra steps, you're doing extra cardio, you're feeling guilty all day. You feel like you have to fix it, but there is nothing to fix because there is nothing that you have done wrong. Okay. Biologically, your body is going to push back when you do that. And this is that binge restrict cycle that so many women get stuck in. Or this could even be like when you're under eating during the week and then the weekend comes and you suddenly feel out of control. You're ravenous, you're fucking starving because your body is pushing back. Your hunger hormones are going to increase. Your food focus is going to increase. Your cravings are going to increase. This is not a lack of discipline or a lack of willpower. It's that your fucking body is fighting back against you because you are under nourishing it, like you're under fueling it. So that is when this one social meal becomes really emotionally intense. Like what should just be a single meal out with your partner, with your girlfriends, turns into this thing that you're thinking about all week. Like, what should I order? Should I look at the menu? Should I bring my own food? Maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I shouldn't go. Like, it's just a fucking meal out and it should not consume your brain for the entire week leading up to it or the entire week afterwards because you feel so guilty. And then a lot of women will blame themselves for that response when really it's just your body responding to restriction. So I find that this guilt is worse than the actual meal itself. Like the guilt that you feel afterwards is going to do so much more damage than the meal ever will because it's feeding that cycle. It's feeding that binge restrict cycle. It's feeding that fear around food because that one dinner turns into I've ruined it. I fucked it. what's the point? Like, I have no discipline. You just start completely beating yourself up. When building a physique, it's a long game and it's your lifestyle. And you should be able to live this lifestyle for the rest of your life. That's why it's a lifestyle. So, how the fuck are you expecting to do that and still live in this mindset for the rest of your life? Think about 5 years from now, if you continue with the way that you are feeling mentally around food and everything, think about how you're going to feel 5 years from now. You're going to be so burnt out. You're going to be so mentally exhausted. You're probably going to stop training. You're going to lose your love for it. You're going to lose that spark because you have to learn how to remove the emotion from food. You have to learn how to. Sometimes that's why I don't even like the phrase like relationship with food, because relationships are for people and food is food. Like, it's just food. You have to start viewing it as just a neutral thing. It's not labeling foods as good or bad, not attaching guilt to your meals. You shouldn't be like going into a spiral every time you have a single meal. You have to learn how to just return to structure calmly and understand that your social life and going out for meals, this is going to be part of your life forever, and you have to find that healthy balance. And this looks different for everyone as well. A general guideline that I like to give my girls, if my girls are a little bit more physique focused, they have like big physique goals, I'll always say enjoy a social meal a week. One social meal a week, Friday night, Saturday night, whatever it might be. Yes, still be mindful. Don't treat it as a free for all. Don't go out and eat fucking, I don't know, 10 cheeseburgers. But go out, one social meal, don't track it if you don't want to, and just be mindful and enjoy yourself. And I feel like that really helps create that happy medium, that nice level of balance in between. So I wanted to give some practical advice because I wanted to keep this episode very value packed. And I want you to walk away with something that you can actually apply straight away, because I know a lot of women struggle with this. So one of the biggest things that I tell clients is stop starving yourself before the event. Calorie banking is a good strategy and it can be a really good tool, but calorie banking is pulling maybe 50 to 100 calories a day for a few days leading up to the event. It's borrowing a little bit of calories for a couple of days to give you a little bit more flexibility on the event day. This is not fucking starving yourself for 2 days prior, eating fuck all or eating nothing all day because you're going out for dinner at night, because that is always going to backfire. You are going to show up starving. And like I said, your body fights back. Your body's always going to push back against you. And that is when you feel out of control. So you should still maintain a normal level of structure around all of your meals. Still get your protein in, maybe have a little bit of a lighter lunch if you're going to have a heavier dinner, because you need to go into that dinner or whatever it is in a calm state. You need to stop showing up when you're starving, because that is always going to backfire and you're always going to end up just eating more than you intended. And then you wake up and you feel guilty, and then it feeds that cycle, and it's just like a vicious cycle over and over again. So make sure you're eating your balanced meals beforehand, prioritizing protein earlier in the day, hydrating properly, and regulating hunger properly as well. And if you do have a big event or a big dinner, whatever it might be, calorie banking is a good tool. Steal 50 calories, 100 calories max, a couple of days prior to the event. You're not doing it in a way that is restrictive. You're just doing it in a way where maybe you're eating a lighter lunch every day, barely noticeable, to just allow a little bit more flexibility. Okay. Another thing is learning how to track your meals. If you are physique, like if you have physique goals, learning how to track your meals when you do go out is really beneficial. But understand as well that it's not going to be perfect. It's always going to be a little bit inaccurate, and that's okay, because you genuinely don't always know every ingredient. And restaurants, the reason restaurant food tastes so good is because they use a lot of butter and a lot of oils. You don't know how much they're using. So it's not always going to be 100% accurate, but just having that awareness around it, like just having that little bit of structure still around your meal is enough. Um, Next tip would be to stop treating your social meals like a cheat meal. This is why I don't like the term cheat meal, because the second that you label something as a cheat, you're creating more emotional intensity around it. It feels naughty, it feels forbidden. And our brains are really funny in a way that if something feels forbidden, we want it more. Like we've seen that in psychology. Like, that toxic ex boyfriend that you had that you knew he was not good for you and you wanted him so bad. That's what I'm talking about. When something feels naughty or forbidden, we actually want it more. So stop viewing your social meal as a cheat meal. It's just a social meal, okay? You're not off plan, you're not off track because you don't want to get into that mindset of, oh, I fucked it up. I may as well just keep eating. That is where you start building that all or nothing mindset. Like, had a dinner out on Saturday night. I've already fucked it. I may as well just eat whatever I want on Sunday. Like, no, go out, enjoy the food, and move on. Continue normally afterwards. Learn how to get back into routine without punishment or without guilt or without spiraling. Because the second that you start to spiral or feel that guilt, you are feeding that cycle. The women who achieve long-term results and actually maintain their results are the women that learn how to get back into routine every single time. Every time you feel like you've maybe slipped up a little bit, maybe you ate a little bit more than you intended to, whatever it might be, get the fuck back into routine as quickly as possible. Okay? I tell all my girls never miss twice. If you have a meal that's a little bit different to your usual meals, make sure the next one is a good one. If you miss a gym workout, make sure you get one the next day. If you have a bad week, make sure the next one is a good one. Don't ever miss twice. Learn how to get back into routine right after. I think the binge restrict cycle is one of the most misunderstood things in the fitness industry because a lot of women get stuck in that mindset of, I just have no self control. Can't control myself. I have no discipline. I just need more willpower. But honestly, that cycle starts with too much restriction. The problem is never the food. The problem is that your body is biologically wired to respond to deprivation. And if you are under eating during the week, you are going to overeat on the weekend. That's your body fighting back. If you spend all week hyper controlling all of your calories, under eating, constantly dieting, maybe you're not fueling your workouts enough, your body and your brain is going to push back. And then one unplanned meal becomes a fuck it. And I think that like cheat culture makes this worse because you start to place foods on a pedestal. So if you find, and I mentioned the weekends because this is most commonly a weekend thing. If you find that every time the weekend comes, you just fall into this trap of eating whatever you want, eating as much as you want, then Sunday night you got the Sunday scaries, you feel guilty, feel bloated, you feel gross, telling yourself, all right, I'm going to lock in this week. I'll do better. I'm going to bring my calories a little bit lower, balance it out. I'm not going to do it again next weekend. Next weekend comes, guess what? You do it again. It's because you're probably not eating enough during the week. Especially if you are an active gym girly, you need to be fueling your body properly. Yes, if you are in a deficit and you're trying to lose fat, obviously you're in a deficit, but it should still be a moderate deficit, not to the point where you are completely starving yourself because your body will push back and you will lose control. And that is a biological response. That has nothing to do with willpower. That has nothing to do with discipline. That is deprivation and restriction. And your body is literally fucking starving. And that is why you feel out of control when the pizza comes out on a Friday night. Okay. So we have to remove those emotions from food. Food, the social meal has to stop being this like big emotional event. Women with healthier relationships around food, they don't attach that much emotional intensity to their meals. And I think the reason that a lot of women do that is because they don't realize how much mental restriction they actually are carrying. Because even if physically you are eating enough, mentally, like I said, I was like having that deep down guilty feeling. Mentally, you might still fear carbs. Mentally, you might still fear weight gain. You might still fear losing control. You might feel guilty eating socially. That mental restriction alone is enough to keep the food obsession alive. Like you're constantly thinking, what's my next meal? Can I fit this in? Should I eat this? Should I not eat this? How should I compensate tomorrow? That constant mental noise is exhausting and it's feeding that cycle and it's feeding that fear. Because freedom around food is not eating everything all the time. Freedom is being able to eat a meal and mentally move on. So, let's talk a little bit about diet foods. And I spoke about this actually earlier on a podcast, but I wanted to talk about it again because I think a lot of us have become very disconnected from normal eating. And look, I am not anti protein bars. I'm not anti low calorie swaps. Like, I literally have got a sugar free Red Bull right in front of me. I'm not going to tell you to cut out artificials or seed oils or any of that shit. Like, no, that is not what I'm getting at. But there are a lot of people out there that are eating every single day. They're eating like protein puddings and protein bars and huge amounts of artificial sweeteners and low calorie desserts. They're trying to make everything as low calorie as possible and sugar free and low fat, protein ice cream, and just all this shit it's all in supermarkets now. You go to that health food aisle and you've got an entire row of these healthy, high protein snacks. This shit is why your digestion feels horrible, why you're always fucking bloated, no matter how clean, quote unquote, clean you eat. Your stomach hurts, you have irregular bowel movements. If you're shitting twice a week, that's not normal. And your hunger cues feel broken and you actually feel more obsessed with food because you think you are eating clean and you're like hacking your hunger, but that is keeping you mentally trapped in diet mode forever. And it's wreaking havoc on your digestive system. These foods are not designed for everyday consumption. These foods are foods that you grab if you're maybe on the go, you got to get a protein bar and whatever it might be. You should not be getting all your protein from this stuff. You should not be eating this stuff daily because it's going to fuck with your gut health and it's going to fuck with you mentally as well. Because then every meal becomes, how can I eat the most amount of food for the least calories? Instead of, what meal is actually going to fuel me and nourish me and support my goals? Two very different perspectives, right? And your body wants to eat balanced meals, normal portions, whole foods, real fucking food. I have so many girls come to me and I look at their like daily meal plan and they're eating fucking protein custard for breakfast. And they're eating a huge salad for lunch with a bunch of like no calorie sauce on top. Spud light potatoes for dinner. Fucking protein pudding for dessert. Like, you're not eating real foods from this fucking earth. And that is why you feel hungry all the time and why you feel out of control with food. Because you might feel physically full, but mentally you're not satisfied and your body does not feel nourished because these foods are not nourishing. Start filling your plate up, filling your day up with actual real whole foods because all of this low calorie shit and this volume eating might be physically stretching your stomach, but if your meals aren't actually nourishing and satisfying, the food obsession often stays high. So, I think the biggest realization for me that helped me break out of this cycle myself was realizing and remembering that fitness is meant to enhance your life. It's not meant to be your life and it's not meant to control it. And the word balance, like, it gets thrown around a lot and it gets very misunderstood, I find. Some people think that balance means not really caring. And I used to feel like that. I used to think, oh, if I have too much balance in my life, I'm not a real bodybuilder. I'm not committed. I'm not disciplined. But you can train seriously and really care about your physique, track your food, have goals, stay disciplined, do all the things without feeling emotionally controlled. You should still be able to go on holiday and maybe not track your food. Go to a birthday and have the cake. Eat dinner with your family that your mum cooked and you can't perfectly track it. Go out socially, have flexibility without spiraling afterwards. That's what balance is. Because your physique is built through your overall patterns, not one meal, not one weekend, not one holiday. And the women who maintain incredible physiques long term are the women who stop living in extremes. You have to learn how to stop punishing yourself and always compensating and having this mindset that you need to earn your food or earn that balance and be perfect all the time. Instead, shift your focus to consistency. Shift your focus to nourishing your body, nourishing your digestive health, nourishing your muscle growth, your performance in the gym, and just having that stability around food. Because the biggest shift that you can have is realizing that your body's going to fluctuate and that is normal, and trying to always hyper control the scale and hyper control your calories, it's doing more harm than good. And you're not supposed to feel completely empty all year round as well. And I think a lot of women have forgotten what a normal body actually looks like because social media constantly shows extremes. There is a very small percentage of the population that actually looks the way that you see all of these girls like fitness gym influencers on social media that actually looks that way. Very fucking small percentage. You go out into a shopping center, look around and tell me who actually looks like that. Because these are usually girls that their whole life is training. Their whole life, their job, everything is training. These are a lot of time competitive bodybuilders. Like we're comparing ourselves to bodybuilders in prep online, and our perception of what's normal becomes so fucking skewed that we have just forgotten what a normal body actually looks like. And we tie our whole identity, and fitness just consumes every single part of our life that we forget who we are outside of fitness. Because if your entire identity is being lean and being disciplined and being the gym girl, then any small deviation from that feels very threatening. And the best thing that I have done for myself is learning to reconnect with my life outside of my physique and learning who I am outside of my physique and all of the things that I enjoy to do outside of training and outside of the gym. And training is a massive fucking part of my life. Like, I'm here talking about training right now. It's a big part of what I do. It's a big part of who I am. I'm literally a coach. Like, I talk about this shit every day. But trying to find hobbies and interests and just what lights me up outside of training as well has been the best thing that I can do. And that's even just little mindset shifts. Like, if I go for a walk now, I am not seeing it in a way where I'm just going to try get my steps in because I have a step target. Like, no, I'm going for a walk because I like going for a walk. I'm going for a walk because I just want to de-stress a little bit. I want to walk my puppy. I'm not looking at my fucking Apple Watch. I'm not even looking at my steps. It's just little things like that. Still having standards, still caring about my goals and showing up and training hard, but also just enjoying life more and being more present and being more relaxed and just making time to actually like regulate my nervous system as well. It's just helped me not attach my entire worth to my physique anymore. And it's helping me with that control and that perfectionism and everything that I mentioned before. And I think that's such an important part of long-term health and actually staying in this game long enough to stay in it long enough. So I I'm very passionate about this topic. And honestly, I could talk about this all day, but I really hope that you guys found that helpful because I know so many women quietly struggle with this and maybe feel a little bit embarrassed to admit it, especially in fitness spaces where everyone acts like they're perfectly disciplined all the time. You see everyone's perfect daily routines. And if there's one thing I want you to take from this episode, it's that your physique goals should never come at the expense of your entire life. You can have structure without obsession. You can have discipline without fear. And you can care about your physique without food and calories controlling your entire brain. And I think that is the healthiest place to get to. And you are so much more than just your body, and you are so much more than just how many calories you consume in a day. You don't wanna be 80 years old one day laying on a bit morbid, but laying on your fucking deathbed and thinking back wishing, "I wish I just enjoyed life more. I wish I wasn't so fucking focused on how many calories I'm consuming every day." And that is the biggest realizations that I've had lately. And that's why I've been talking about this so much on my own social media and sharing my own story, because I know there's so many women out there feeling the same way. So if this episode resonated with you for whatever reason, please share it, tag us, message us, whatever you want, because it's really important to get this message out. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll chat to you soon. Next time, we will have Amanda back in the studio as well, and we'll recap her shows too. Bye, guys.